And welcome everybody to the unexpected live stream. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho, and I'm putting on my sunglasses because I'm looking at the sun. Why? Because we've got a KP index of 4 going on right now, and we're reporting on it so early that it's too early for it to even show up on some of the data. We've got some great magnetosphere movies for you, check it out. You saw we just got a spike here in the magnetometer readings right at the same time, as well as a sudden uptick in the solar wind speed here. So it looks like an additional coronal hole wind stream here showing up. We saw the density come up, then come down as the speed came up. So up, getting close to 500 kilometers a second here. Something to keep an eye on. Have I said that enough times? So here's what the magnetosphere looks like right now. We've already got the density playing. I also made a new HelioViewer custom movie. There's still a bunch of ejecta coming out of the eastern limb of the sun. And there you can see what's going on in the magnetosphere. So it appears like we're at a KP index of 4. So what we're seeing here is a magnetic spike at the same time as a protonic induction. Not a total protonic reversal, as described in Ghostbusters. Remember, don't cross the streams. It could cause a total protonic reversal. Sounded like some real science jargon. Although, the proton beams that they were blasting were pretty legit. Speaking of blasting proton beams, oh my god. Alright, how about a photon beam? Oh, never mind. COVID and I decided to become friends. Alright, I'll see you later, COVID. Could you please, you're taking up frame here. Thank you. So yeah, we've got some, probably some auroras being kicked up here also. And is the stream live? And indeed it is. If you are viewing live, leave us a comment. We're going to be covering some meteorology stuff too here. Hopefully I won't get a power outage myself, as I am about to get hit by a pretty severe thunderstorm. Perhaps I can demonstrate forecasting thunder for you here. Anyway, the auroras do look like they're increasing on the South Pole side. Not to very many people's benefit, as it is winter in Antarctica. Here are the ground magnetic perturbations. Again, we see nearly 500 kilometers per second for the solar wind speed here, which is the primary contributor, as well as some high magnetism, which I believe is still north solar polar field oriented. There you can see the polar view. Here's the global view. And you can see some indication of where the South Pole is located. Oddly, it is underneath my pointer someplace over here, sort of south of Western Australia, somewhere out in the Indian Ocean there, not even on the Antarctican continent. And this isn't any kind of conspiracy theory or anything like that, folks. This is just widely known facts. So we see significant global scale magnetic perturbations here, and no surprise, as we suddenly went from a KP of 0 up to a KP of 4. Hopefully everybody's doing okay as far as the flooding went. We're hoping everybody evacuated the proper places at the proper times, because those kind of storm surges, you better be one hell of a kayaker to be able to pull through that. I mean, don't end up in a 10-foot storm surge. Now, from what I heard, it wasn't as bad as forecasted. It had to do with a bunch of dry massive air hanging around and weakening that storm. And for that, we thanked it. Alright, so I have showed up at the live chat. And here's the chat. Thanks for leaving comments. Nastu the Brony Slayer and D17 Storm Chaser and Nabo J and Get Wild. A new sub there. Get Wild. Thanks again for leaving comments. Get wild. Get crazy. Now this is, a KPF4. You could see power outages in places with weak power grids where they don't have advanced technology and circuitry to shut down legs of their grid when too much induction happens. So we can't blame the current state of affairs in terms of the U.S. power grid on any of this. I think I do have an image. There we go. As we do have tons of power outages in the U.S. right now. Over 600,000 noted. And keep in mind those numbers, they're not tracking all custies. They're missing some custies. So, but that's quite a lot of custies there. That's like 1% of their custies. Man, oh man. Severe thunderstorms have been sweeping across the Northeast too. Check it out. Anyway, no power outages where I'm located yet. Let's take a look at what's going on in the water vapor map here. Actually, let's look at nullschool.net first. Zoom in and look at the weather in ways I don't normally do it because other people are watching. Anyway, there's the jet stream. Here are the surface winds. And you can see that low right in the middle of the country there is still rotating counterclockwise quite a bit. There is still a jet stream level disruption. No, not really. Slight disruption there. So, but it's staying surprisingly low, despite being over land for that long. We have this northward flow of a bunch of hot air. At least it's dry hot air. Anyway, I just wanted to check what's going on over my head for once. There we go. I'll actually look at the visible satellite for once. And I apologize for the delay. We are streaming live. If anybody has any weather stuff that they'd like us to cover, let us know. We will look at that part of the planet, or perhaps the galaxy. Huh. Some funky cloud patterns going on there. Those are cosmic ray flux gas clouds. Yeah. All right, let's do a little analysis of this, because this is pretty sweet. I'm going to have to hit refresh again. Please bear with me for a moment, as I'm getting bared down on by severe thunderstorms. Here, let me show you the Doppler. Where's the Doppler? Oh, we're going to get hammered. And the entire Northeast has been getting hammered from Minnesota all the way to now. It's about to be in eastern Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware. Check it out. There we go. You can see that water vapor. Check out the way the water vapor is moving versus the way the clouds are. If you think that's caused by a HARP, I suggest you take a physics class, because that requires a little more wattage than dudes on the ground are putting out. Because if they were putting out that much wattage, there'd be problems. There'd be all kinds of problems, folks. You would know about it. It's not HARP, it's not chemtrails, and it's not contrails. Note the way the water vapor is moving almost due east, and the clouds are just consistently in the same spots. So this is the kind of day when you'd see lenticular clouds in these valleys and mountainous areas here especially. Probably actually some interesting cloud formations going on in New York right now. Here, check it out. You can see you got two layers of clouds here. There's an upper level low moving over the top of these low clouds. So these clouds, these herringbone looking clouds that are underneath this upper level low, those clouds are probably at about 12,000 feet of altitude or lower, while that upper level low is above that. And you can kind of see them overlapping there. A classic example of low clouds, and oftentimes we'll see Lichtenberg patterns over southern New York and northern Pennsylvania when humidity and other atmospheric conditions are just right. I think we've got a bunch of them on the channel. Let's take a look at this low, which is right at a multi-state border right now. We don't get to use the visible satellite too much on the channel, so take a moment to bring it up. What else do we have? Robert Burke-Ved's about the hypothesis of electric extraction in Wisconsin, Devil's Lake. Yeah. That there are a lot of geologic features that cannot reasonably be explained by things like erosion and just simply, erosion and sedimentary rocks and igneous rocks and volcanism. That doesn't seem to answer how all of the structures on the planet have formed. So, and I'm not refuting that. That is not, when I say everything is not electric, it's because we have terms for things because things are called different things. That's why we have different words. If everything was electric, why would we call things electric? It's like if there was no good and evil, there wouldn't be a word for good and evil, would there? Anyway, great view of that. I'm going to do another zoom in here at medium zoom factor to give folks that are in the path of that a better idea of where it's going, as now it's forecasted to strike us a bit here in Pennsylvania. Man, I got to do a low zoom. Love that visible satellite. When it's available, it's quite nice. As our regular viewers are aware, I'm usually making videos while it's dark out, so it's very rare for me to be in such a well-lit room. Although it all looks the same, I suppose, due to the glitz and glamour of YouTube magic. By the way, we use OBS to make the content, and anybody can make content like this. You don't have to be some kind of super genius cosmology astrophysics nerd. We'd be more than happy to put tutorials on the forum. Feel free to put it up if you like, if you know how to use OBS, viewers. It's smashomatch.com/forum. Strange weather in the UK, Daz? How strange is it? Strange weather in Germany too, huh? I don't expect the KP to raise further. Lichtenberg figures is what you were researching. Yeah. I'll bet I could probably find some if I looked around. Actually, a lot of times you see, let's see here. You can also find interesting cloud formations, on the banks of especially freshwater lakes. The way the clouds form and evaporate over oceanic coastal regions. In other words, the difference between saltwater and freshwater is pretty stark. But it certainly does have effects, as there's all kinds of reflection and refraction happening with the water and all the energy that's hitting it. There's all kinds of radio frequencies being absorbed and re-emitted and refracted and reflected and all kinds of stuff like that happening. Yeah, there actually is some interesting stuff going on. Now, usually you're not going to see any sort of like direct, oh look, space is affecting my weather. But the fact is, if a whole bunch of quasars suddenly turned on and started a massive influx of cosmic rays on the planet, the whole planet would get cloudy. You would get hot nights and cold days, and that could just keep up for an indefinite period of time. You have no idea how cosmic ray flux really affects the planet. It's practically impossible to measure it, but Anyway, some interesting cloud formation happening there. And let's look at this area over the Gulf, actually. A good example of kind of differences in, because, you know, when the humidity conditions are just right, you get these features like this. And when you're on the ground, this is not evident that this is going on. Now this, again, you've got two different layers of clouds here. So let me break out the Epic pen. This layer of clouds down here, you can see that these are at a higher altitude. There's sort of like a parallax thing going on there as they're moving. So you've really got two different bodies of moisture here, and one is suspended over the top of the other one. For all you physics nerds, chicken and egg arguments are very important. So you can see these clouds here are associated with an upper level low. But these clouds over here, those are just low level clouds. So these are what you see typically when you see a plane making contrails. And planes can indeed cause more of these sorts of clouds to form. You know, contrails are indeed pollution. They make the planet colder in the daytime and warmer at nighttime, you know, because the greenhouse effect is real. And when you have a cloud there, it blocks sunlight. You know, a plane can cause a snowstorm to happen. Nuclear power plants were documented in the past year or so to have been causing their own weather to happen due to the artificial cloud formation. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it is pollution technically, because it's sort of an unnatural modification of the environment. And what else do we have here? This area over Texas is super interesting here, like central Texas, because you've got this boundary. It's sort of a moisture boundary there. So another spot where you can see some very interesting cloud features right now. If you're in these areas especially, you may see some real odd clouds going on. Get photos. It's not because of alien spacecraft. It's because of all kinds of electrical features and air pressure variances and sort of moisture gradients. Wow, that is just a great satellite image there. So anyway, what's everybody else doing? I'm going to go look at Europe and Germany. I mean, UK and Germany in a moment. And if I am psychic, that information is classified. Let's see if I can zoom in using the water vapor maps that I use most days. So we use this one all the time. And it looks like we can indeed zoom in there. Nice. So here's an animation of what's going on over UK. And that's a 3-hour loop. Just give that a moment to load. It's pretty high res. Oh yeah. Yeah. You've got a backwards jet stream over you there. So yeah. And this kind of pattern, oh, that's pretty violent too there, dudes. Let me take a longer loop here. Let's go to 6 hours. It might give you a little more insight. And I'll go to Germany right after this. Nice. Yeah, that's a bunch of hot water there. Ooh, I didn't like that. Let's stick with that size. Pardon my squeaky mouse wheel, by the way, folks. This mouse came right out of the box with a squeaky wheel, and I just haven't taken it apart, fixed it, sprayed grease on. I haven't done anything. It's really annoying, and as a gamer, I find it highly offensive. Man, that is quite a system there. What is going on with that? You got a heavy counterclockwise rotation there, dudes. Let's see what's going on in the jet stream. I have a feeling you got backwards jet stream over you. Yeah. Here's the 25,000 foot altitude winds. Yeah, so you're right in the bend here. So you've got this. This is almost like atmospheric backwater. And that allows for a lot of shenanigans to happen. As far as Germany, you should have mostly clear skies over Germany. Let's have a look. One more, there we go. Alright, let me find Deutschland, and we'll zoom in right on Berlin. And we'll do the same 6-hour loop. So you've got a big pressure gradient there. You've got dry air, moist air. Shout out to Isaac Butterfield. His new word is moist, folks. Moist. Which I'm not sure if that's a reference to things like Run DMC, but if you remember back in the 1980s, there was one of the top hip-hop bands in the world, Run DMC. They used to refer to things that they liked as fresh, or indeed funky fresh. And I think what Butterfield is doing is he's kind of making a reference to fresh, meaning moist. You know, moist, not dry. Because Run DMC would actually refer to stuff that they didn't like as dry. Like, yo, you should have seen these dry dudes trying to rap. These dry dudes down at the open mic night trying to rap, thinking they's MCs. So that's what's going on over Germany. Let me see if I can get a different zoom here. I don't like that zoom very much. Let me look a little farther south. And that's too far south. So these must be very specific maps here. I don't know. I'm not familiar with trying to zoom in. Okay, it's just going to show me that angle regardless. Anyway, that's what's going on with the water vapor, folks. Let's check and see who's got the lightning, because frankly, I'm surprised it's not here yet. I was looking at the maps earlier, and I thought I'd already be getting hit by now. This thing must have slowed down a bit. You can see quite a bit of lightning over Pennsylvania. That's right, Chicken Little. My new mouse is dry. I thought it was so fresh. I mean, check it out. It's got. Let me bring up my software so I can see this. It's got green, blue, red, different lights for different DPI, dot pitch rates. And, you know, that way you can switch to different applications and not have to do anything besides press a button on the mouse to switch the sensitivity of the mouse. It's great for gaming, you know, because you can have it set very sensitive or very unsensitive depending on your own personal style. But apparently it's not that great of a mouse. So, big storm over Munich and Prague, eh? Let's see what's going on in the lightning maps. Just going to cross the ocean real quick. The lightning striking just northeast of Milan. By the way, that's like my ultimate spot to go on vacation and or build another bunker in Italy. Yes, Italy. Lance Armstrong didn't move there because he's an ass. And although he is a bit of an ass, he moved there because he's also smart. Tarragona. There's thunder rolling in. Man, oh man. I'll bet the roads go on endlessly in these places. Son of a bee. I want to ride up a giant mountain on a road that looks like your driveway. Anyway, there's the full Earth view of lightning. And there's quite a bit of lightning indeed. I would show you the Schumann resonances, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going there. Bees are not levitating on Schumann resonances, folks. They're flying by creating low pressure systems both below and above their wings. Looking at the gong too here to see what's going on with the magnetic environment of the sun. And we're about to see low magnetometer readings because, as you can see, there's this, oh my goodness, godness, graciousness. That was horrifying. This region right here. There's still a bunch of plasma. We could actually see more coronal mass ejecta. In fact, let me actually show you some stuff here. I just made a custom video. There still is a bunch of ejecta coming out of the east side of the sun. So the coronal mass ejection event is not over. Ah, thank you, Nebo J. You saved the day. Yes. See, now that's divine providence right there. Reading your comments. Anyway, there you can see the date stamps. This is actually sort of the most recent set of images from HelioViewer. It's only about a half an hour old at this point. And again, you can see a bunch of ejecta coming out of the eastern side. East side. And it's not through yet. You know, a bunch more plasma could be flung off at any moment here, and you don't need to see solar flares or sunspots or anything like that for big-time coronal mass ejections to happen. So we made sure to leave the time and date stamps on frame for this. And you can see how large those coronal plumes are by looking at the Earth scale there. Now, obviously the Earth isn't in that location. It's actually more like in this location. As the LASCO is directly in between Earth and Sun. Here's the custom view from this morning. Yeah, so KP index of 3. I mean, KP index of 4. And I don't think it's even showing up on most of the data yet. We just figured we'd jump on and do a quick live stream here, as we tend to show stuff first, and we are already at a KP5. So we're already in geomagnetic storm conditions. And that's not very surprising considering what the geospace magnetosphere movies look like. I wouldn't be surprised to see some significant auroras kicking off. And there's a state of affairs for the pressure. Oh, there's a spaceship headed straight for the CME. Hey, this is a pretty significant geomagnetic storm here, folks. And it's about half caused by pure magnetism and about half caused by solar wind velocity, as the density really isn't very high at all. But the velocity is quite high, and you can see some distorted portions of the magnetosphere here. And we've already got ionospheric anomalies in the past couple of days. To that end, I brought up a larger view than what we usually look at here. So this is the last 2 days of the ionosphere. And actually, this is quite interesting as we're coming up with some interesting, shall we say, tidal theories about what's going on with this stuff. I think there is some predictive value in the study of ionospheric anomalies. And I better not say more than that. Because of hacks on YouTube. Yes, hacks on YouTube. So I'm not sure what spaceship you mean there, Nay. Let me just bring up the chat here so everybody knows what we're talking about. Sorry about that test pattern there, I apologize. We try to keep the experience a little more seamless by not always having what we're viewing on the screen. And let's put up, yeah, there we go. The 6-hour windy.com radar map. Pretty nice. And if you haven't downloaded this for your mobile device yet, well, it's highly recommended. Now, keep in mind, folks, when you're around bad storms like this, and man, we had a sudden influx here. Check out the sudden. That storm came out of nowhere over Ohio. Check it out. This thing is, it's not there, and then it is. In epic fashion. Hopefully no tornadoes formed. By the way, the most dangerous spot would be the northwest corner of a storm like this. That's where you'd expect to see the tornadoes. Actually, also right here. That is a nasty looking supercell. It's not as big as the one headed my way. At least not yet. But it looks like it's trying to combine with this other system as well. Check it out. That is quite the setup. And we are going to get hammered here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a power outage here in eastern PA. Let's get as close as we can to this Ohio storm. I mean, that is... Fredericktown looks like it just got kaplastered. Also, this area south of Mount Vernon, Butler, was probably hit very hard by that. Hopefully not too much hail and damaging wind, but talk about coming out of nowhere. Let's take a look at the satellite view of this same area, just to show you how deceptive this stuff can be. It's probably rapid cloud nucleation. And, oh, there we go. There's a satellite. Six-hour view. Wow. Looks pretty unassuming, and then all of a sudden the cloud tops are just very high. Again, you've got two different systems here. You've got low clouds and an upper level low at the same time. Yeah, windy.com's got some graphics. Windy.com's great at pulling together a bunch of data from different sources, as things like Doppler radar often overlap, and depending on what source you're looking at, you often get really crappy data. Great contrast on the clouds there also. Wow, very, very odd motions too. Very strange. And check out the mass of clouds near the center of this thing. It's actually trailing the low pressure is a little north of there, I believe. Let's bring out the pressure. I turned off the pressure. Don't try this unless you're expert mode, folks. No expert mode. If you're not expert mode, it's not permitted. But what? No, yeah, that pressure. Yes. Show the pressure. Yes. By the way, if you have the wildfires, if you have the fires turned on, you see all these little fires it shows. Don't use it. It's so dumb. Just don't do it. Anyway, I don't know why it's displaying it like this now. For some reason, this software I like it better on the phone, honestly. It's okay on the computer, but on the phone, it's pretty epic. Let's go back to lightning maps and see where the lightning's striking. Well, it's generally headed to the south here. Looks like Harrisburg is in the crosshairs. And a lot of this stuff may miss us to the south where I'm located. So anyway, I just figured I would, do a quick little live stream here. Texas Rancher, it does help to cause pressure gradients, because you have this extremely large low pressure system, and that has a sucking force on everything else. So, all of the other weather around the location of that sucking force leads to added pressure gradients. And what you don't want to see is a lot of cold, massive air being injected down from the north. So the worst case scenario would be if you got the jet stream really blowing, if you had the jet stream blowing really hard from north to south toward this, that's when you would get the tornado. So what's it like in Texas? Is it as windy as was forecasted? Because let's actually take a look at that. So surface winds in Texas are as follows. You can kind of see the sucking force associated with that. Laura has really been sucking. Here's a close-up of the water vapor, by the way. I don't even think I've showed this yet. It's kind of relevant for all of you folks who are in the path of the biggest low in the country, maybe even the world. Please leave a comment if you think the world is not enough, but it's a perfect place to start. Yeah, well, what can I say? I forecasted it wouldn't be as windy as the National Weather Service said it was. What can I say? I understand the physics. Does the National Weather Service? I have no idea. Good luck. Anyway, I just wanted to come on and do a quick live stream here. I don't know how quick it is, but I'll just show you the ground magnetic perturbations, which are still building, in fact. So yeah, we got all the way up to geomagnetic storm levels. Here's what it's looking like on the magnetosphere. And like I said, we've still got ejecta that has not blasted off of the sun yet. It's just hanging out. And some of it headed out toward stereo A, some of it headed out toward Earth, some of it headed out to the west. So there's been quite a bit of ejecta blasting off lately. And we'll be trying to cover it as much as possible. Thanks once again to our patrons and people who visit the affiliate links and other links at places like smAsho.org. Purchase the merch. I mean, don't you want Smasher Price My First Pandemic shirt? Tell your friends, tell your foes that it's utterly ineffective to try to put a mask over the whole planet. Did you know that you could be sunbathing in the woods and a bobcat could jump over you and sneeze on you and give you COVID? It's true. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. To quote Kurt Angle, it's true. So what else is going on, viewers? It's about time to close this thing out. How about one more view of the sun? How about 304 angstroms? It's great at showing things like limb darkening. And we've got lots of filaments all around the limb. In the northwest, in the northeast. There's a bunch of it sort of in this area right here. Believe it or not, it's kind of hard to see. And let's draw funny jack-o'-lantern faces on the sun. vertical pupils. Got to have the vertical pupils if you want a conscious sun. Jerry Seinfeld nose. And how about the fangs? Is that scary and spooky enough for you folks? Are you scared and spooked? Oh my God, it's no longer conscious. Now it is conscious. What's happening? The sun's winking at you. Anyway, to quote me, just the good old smash, never meanin' no harm. Someday, a nova might get me, but big tech never will. Anyway, it's about that time. Thanks for tuning in, folks. See you next time. Drop us a line at the smAsho VoIP line. Give us a breaking news story if you find out one. Oh, and I forgot my favorite quote of the past 24 hours. Joe Biden's agenda was made in China. Mine's made in the USA. Okay? So from Trump's speech last night, he said Joe Biden's agenda was made in China. Which I just love that. So anyway, I'm out. Thanks again for tuning in. Please visit the links below the video. Open your moth-filled, cobweb-encrusted wallet and drop us some cash. Buy yourself a shirt, or maybe some leggings, or how about a pulse oximeter? And we'll see you next time, most likely very, very early tomorrow morning for the Daily smAsho.